A lot of people teach, Adam was standing right there when it all happened and he didn't take authority and step in and all that. I'm not sure I buy that. I look at Genesis 4 and the end of 3, and Genesis 3, the end, and he says to Adam, because you heeded the voice of your wife instead of me. Here's what I personally believe happened. Everything's out to reproduce itself after its own kind, because it's a law, each seed after its own kind. So the devil sees man and woman made in God's image to rule the earth and have dominion. He's really ticked off because one day he said, I'll be God. I'll be in the highest place. I'll rise above God's throne and I'll sit in the highest place. Are you aware of that decree? Yeah. And God says, you shouldn't ought to have said that. Boom, boom, onto the earth. And it's dark and it's void and there's no form. And all of a sudden God, shoom, shoom, shoom. And now he breathes into dirt and a human being stands up that looks just like his father. And then he reaches into that fullness and that amazing revelation and brings out a woman. That's where you came from, ladies, the fullness of God in the man. Wow. Yeah. Whew. So God didn't make you because the man needed you in a sexual way, in a lustful way. He didn't even make a woman until he saw the fullness of God in the man, so the man is fully equipped to love her like he does.
Amen.
That's where woman came from in the Bible. So I always say if there's a man in a woman's life, it ought to be because of the fullness of God in the man, not because she's hot. Yeah, don't cheer me on too much, buddy. This topic is intense. Is there an area in our lives more exploited and more perverted? Is there an area more focused on than sexuality? There's nothing even a close second, people. Why? You don't counterfeit $1 bills. You go after something that has great value. And this whole sexual arena is so driven by emotions and sensuality. And it keeps men bound to feelings and flesh and fantasies. It tries to keep spirit-filled people living there. Come out from among them and be ye separate. There's a whole better thing on this side of the 180. Because when you look at the beginning, he says, let us make man in our image. So in the likeness of God, he made man, both male and female. In his own likeness, he made them, both male and female. So what's a woman's created value? To serve the man or to be found in God's likeness? You're not here to serve the man. You're here to be like him. And if we all live to be like him, we'll serve one another. The reason she makes man complete is because man has an avenue to love and reproduce now and express and multiply who God made him to be. She doesn't make man complete because he had a deficit without her. He makes man complete because he can manifest and reproduce with her and multiply what he was created to be.
Wow.
Till the whole earth is filled with his glory. And we turned it into sexual relations, orgasms, loneliness, need to be loved, need to be held, need to feel special, need to be valued. We've turned it into curves and bust size and to just keep sensuality just thriving, keep the flesh raging, maybe even in the midst of our worship. Oh, it's I'm feeling that. The first thing on every list of the flesh is sexuality. I could turn you to Thessalonians. I could turn you to Corinthians, Galatians. Yeah? Ephesians. Colossians. Sexuality, first thing on the list. And he doesn't tell you to manage it. He doesn't tell you to balance it. And he doesn't tell you to control it. He tells you to put it to death. Why? Because what you were trained in is a lie from hell. It was not from the beginning.